once again, time for tea talk. And for one reason or another, it's been, should we say, a bit of a hiatus.
Yes, there's been a pause for thought, hasn't there?
Not in the actual walking and hiking, but in the actual ability to do a tea talk about the events.
Yeah, have a tea talk.
Oh. Well, I suppose all that means is we've got
Lots to talk about.
lots to talk about. But today,
Oh, lovely.
cheers.
Cheers.
We're talking about, are we calling it Lastingham
That's
to Rosedale and back?
I'm back.
Very good. And we did this way back on, what day was it?
To be precise, it was the 7th of August.
Was it?
So, yeah, just into the main school holidays. It was quite a cloudy day.
Yeah, I'm just looking at, I think it was about 11 miles.
Okay.
But, yeah, we'll say it was about 11 miles because it is a good hike
Good
over the
outing
actual
back.
moors, isn't it? But Lastingham's a lovely little village.
Great church, great pub.
And now we can say great hotel.
Great hotel. Wow.
The Lastingham Grange Hotel. But more of that later. What's that called? Is that called a hook?
A teaser. But yeah.
So, parked in Lastingham Grange Hotel, which we were very comfortable doing, knowing that we were going to go in there later. And essentially you head north, don't you, straight onto the moor, because the village of Lastingham is just on the very outskirts of, is it
I
Staunton
think it's, Staunton.
Estate. And you literally go up the hill that's got the hotel on from the actual village, through some gates, and you're straight out onto the moor.
I mean, the road turns into the sandy track.
Absolutely,
doesn't
yeah.
It is
Yeah.
just straight onto the moor.
And, you know, my memories of that day, as I say, the weather wasn't brilliant. There was a few people about, but I think the people we saw, there was plenty of people on electric bikes.
Well, literally, we were a few steps onto the moor. We made our choice as to which of there's probably about half a dozen routes, and then suddenly a pack of 6 or 7 electric bikes, and like an electric car. I know they were coming towards us, but you know, if we're heads down or whatever, you can't hear them.
No,
can you?
not at all.
So yeah, we had
And you certainly can't hear the grunting and panting.
yeah, you're not
Of,
because they're freewheeling and it's or whatever. So, but yes, we happened upon a gaggle of electric cyclists.
Which, you know, let's be fair, it's nice to see people out and about and still
Aren't
enjoying
we?
them
I
all.
mean, we've discussed them, haven't we? We will probably indulge.
Eventually.
Yeah,
So
I'm
we
going to
knew,
install them.
not at the minute. So we knew which way we wanted to go, which was to go past Anna Cross, and I bet is it a couple of miles? Might not even be a couple of miles from where you start the cross to go past Anna Cross.
Yeah, you literally ascend nicely, don't you? Gradual climb up the moor, but yeah, it probably is.
And of course,
Miles out.
the original is in the crypt
Of
at
Lastingham
Church.
Mm.
So we have seen that. I think we've talked about that previously. But
It's a popular place. I mean, when we got there were a couple of hikers and there were more coming, but it is the symbol of the North York Moors National Park, isn't it? So it is a popular spot to bag, as it were.
and how many are there on the moors?
Half a dozen. I
I was
don't
going
know.
to say I got 7 for some reason.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't take that as gospel.
No.
And I remember when we spoke to that couple, we asked them if they were going on to because of course this day, the reason we were going to Rosedale was that it was the Rosedale.
The annual agricultural show.
Yeah,
the Rosedale
absolutely. And we said to these people, are you going to go to the show? Oh, what show's that then? Oh, Rosedale Show. Oh, right. And we told them it'd be on until about 4, which I hope we didn't make them change their day, rushing to get there if they were going to go, because we later find out that it's much later than 4 o'clock. But
Well, it was
always nice to go past Anna Cross. We didn't actually linger, did we?
no, because
today,
we
'cause
had
they were
sort of,
there.
taken some, but they were enjoying it, were we? So we left them to it.
And
And then
then-
you very quickly arrive at the road, and
you can nearly see the road.
it is a high point, isn't it? Yeah.
You know, it is. Yeah, it's the height. Well, let's just have a look here. Yes, it is. It is actually the highest point.
Okay,
Yeah,
which
it's 290 feet on the moor. Maybe there's wait,
just a little brow, is there?
But on the road we're on, it's the highest point. But of course, then our path takes us to the top of Chimney Bank, doesn't it? Where there is a parking space. Does it have a special name, that bit of it, or is it just the parking at the top of Chimney Bank?
Yeah.
And then, of course, from there we only do a little bit, because I think going down Chimney Bank would be harder on the road, would be harder than coming up. So we made the decision to go along on the old railway line on the actual Rosedale for the ironworks, and then down, going past. We call them the farmhouses, don't we?
Yeah, there's the holiday cottage, and then there's 2 working farm cottages, isn't there?
But they're the only habitable buildings on the whole of Rosedale. Should we call it top? The actual circular walk along the old ironworks railway. And when you go down there, I remember that was a bit hairy. Because again, going downhill is just not our favourite thing.
And although it is coming back to me now, although it was a dry day, we had some water, so it's still a bit, wasn't it? It's slippy, and there was loose rocks and things. But then, just after we'd done the craggy bit, coming up, how many did we count?
I think there was about 8.
8, and they were not of an age, weren't they? They had sticks. They were obviously accomplished walkers, but they were about to get to
well, let's just look at that
bit.
So if you are of an age, you could argue that perhaps you're not working, and perhaps you're able to enjoy going out hiking 3-4 times a week.
Yeah,
so you are going to become proficient and fit,
and with those sticks,
you've
but it was, and it's quite narrow, and you had to turn on yourself a little bit, and then halfway up there is a gate and a stile to sort out on the elevation. So it's not to...
No, it's not for the faint-hearted.
Sniffed at.
And we go then through what I don't think is in the top 100 golf courses in the world. It might be 101st, which is the golf course, and I don't know if it's called Rosedale Golf Course. I really don't know. But I think it's a 9-hole, and if you want to say pitch and putt for most people, that's probably accurate. But unfortunately, yet again, probably the 6th time we've been there, still never seen a golfer on it, unfortunately.
It didn't appear open, did it? There was no evidence.
Oh, I think there's actually an honesty box. I think it's one of those.
So it's not that kind of
I don't think there's a pro shop or anything daft like that. I think it's literally a rock up, put your money in the tin, and go and enjoy
But it's a steep
bit of
hill,
golf.
isn't it?
Yes.
Is, and it was dry-ish today, but we've seen it running in little rivers of water, haven't we, as well? So.
Absolutely have.
Yeah.
So then from the golf course you go across a little road, and then you're straight down the field, because again there is the road option, but we stayed off it.
And cars
it's horrible, isn't it?
Bit, aren't they?
And obviously with the show traffic,
it was a busy day.
A bit busier than normal. So into Rosedale, and again there was nowhere that a car could park where we would normally park. We've never struggled to park in Rosedale at all because of all the show traffic. But
we did take a moment to pop into Rosedale Abbey, didn't we?
We did.
And we actually physically went in.
And we did, and I remember now we signed not a petition but a kind of a register.
Oh.
Because they wanted to count and record the number of visitors in order for them to apply for a further grant.
Yeah.
So
no, very worthwhile.
Oh, crikey, yes.
Literally just for saying yes, we come, we are here. We, please help fund this place.
Yeah, which is important, isn't it? And from the church, then we actually went to the show, which is on a field that we've walked through again a dozen times when we've done the full Rosedale. What are we calling that? What is that?
Well, it's the Rosedale Round.
Rosedale Round.
It takes in up, all
the
the mine
ironworks and
workings and everything, and the railway.
But it's behind the hotel that unfortunately has closed down. It's the I don't know if it's golf courses, football. Is it cricket? Football pitch?
It's a pitch, isn't
But
it?
anyway, on the biggest field, and we went for a look, and it was, I don't know what time it was, but we had an option to go through.
I've got 4-ish in my head.
Yeah, I don't know. But it was £7 to go in, and knowing for a fact that we had to traipse back, we weren't going to stop any longer, so we decided not
for us that day.
not to
was it?
invest in the entrance fee that day. But
And even though the guy said, "Oh, there's entertainment at night and this, that, and the other," they were. Some of the stalls were leaving and packing up, weren't they? We'd missed the, and probably missed the show ring stuff, hadn't we?
Because of course we made the decision not to enter anything that year because you had already had triumph with your shortbread, which I don't think was mentioned.
No.
So you won first prize at the Thornton-le-Dale Country Show, which is probably as big as some county shows.
Yes.
And you won first prize for your shortbread.
Traditional shortbread fingers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very well done.
Must make some more.
Pat on the back.
Thank you very much.
And all that.
Blushing.
So didn't go in the show.
No, I didn't enter.
And we'd already knew that we were going to go back to Lastingham on a different route. But there lies the story.
Mm.
So up Chimney Bank a little. Oh no, we didn't go Chimney Bank, did we? We went back the way we went.
Past that house, past the garden, over the ladder stile. It's
to the road that's when the golf course is on, and instead of going through the golf course, then went west to the actual past the pub. What's the pub called?
The pub's called the White Horse Farm Inn.
Right.
Which actually smelt delicious because they were
mucky beer.
And I could smell chips. And they
of course, yes.
There was the stage ready because there was going to be a band on.
That's right.
I think it was about 4:00. So in an hour's time, the
people were getting
set
settled in.
up.
Yeah.
So the band were going to be playing, but they had the chip pan going, and oh my word, we had to make haste there. Get me out of the way.
So the road back, and I suspect in days gone by, this was the route they actually used. Because
I think the other route would have been closed.
Yeah,
a lot of
absolutely across the moor.
A lot of the time.
When you look at an OS, there's hotel, there's Newlands Farm, there's Bank Farm, and then there's a few. There's Hollins Farm. There's a few farms on the actual path.
And it is absolutely joining up Rosedale and Lastingham, isn't it? And an Askew in between. So,
and when you're walking it, everything's on your right hand side, isn't it?
Yeah.
So views are on your left, but on your right hand side is the edge of the moor, and it properly is on the edge of the moor. But
just on that, we haven't said that. August, it was in full bloom, wasn't it? It was absolutely
the heather.
Glorious, the colours.
Yeah, gorgeous.
And you could hear the hum of the bees as well, and so everything looked like it was doing really well on the moor. So we were treated to that all of this walk.
Both that you've mentioned there, Bad in Bloom and bilberries and bees, come into play in a little while. So, I mean, I don't know how far we were on when we came across that plaque and read about the
that's when we'd actually gone off the road, the unmade road, and onto the moor path, hadn't we? And I don't know, what would you say? Half a mile in, there's a plaque to glass making. Glass making,
yeah, absolutely. Elizabethan times.
Absolutely. I mean, we are notorious for not doing that much preparation. We just crack on with these walks and don't look at the history and the local folklore and stuff. But yeah, and the plaque was quite hard to read, wasn't it?
I couldn't read it.
Eroded a bit or something.
But that's when that chap passed us, wasn't it?
Yeah. So he had chinos, a shirt, and a jumper around his neck, sort of over his shoulders.
No backpack.
He did have a bottle of water with him.
Did he?
It was in his pocket.
And what was on his feet?
I think they were just strong
walking
trainers.
shoes.
Yeah, the low cut ones, not the ankle boots.
Yeah, you can't wear them in winter, but
no,
absolutely.
he did have appropriate. But crikey, he cracked on, didn't he?
Yeah.
You know,
Well, he was walking with the confidence, not of just someone that knew how to walk, on the path he knew.
yeah.
You know, he was walking with confidence. He was walking at a good pace. And, you know, by the time we looked up, he was like you
well
say,
ahead.
he was cracking on. But he comes in to play again a little bit later.
But we could see him, you know, because we'd lost a bit of time reading the plaque. We could see him ahead, and then he vanished into the distance, didn't he, at that point?
Now, is this the walk when those cyclists were...
Up the hill, they were struggling.
Yeah, they were like they were behind us, but they weren't passing us, so we were having to get a bit of a trot on to try and get a safe place for us to pull in. But again, they're not. I'm sorry, but they're not paths for cyclists.
Was it a bridle way? I don't know.
I know. Yes, if it's a bridle way, fair enough.
But it was eroding, wasn't it?
Yes.
That was the thing on both.
Yes.
Both taking away from the moor and down the hill. So that's why we got out of the way and stopped, because you know, if we'd have stepped to the side, you could have gone for a burn.
Absolutely. And I'm not sure now where we went wrong. I think it was, if I'm looking at an OS now, it was not much after Hartoft Bridge Farm, which I think...
We recognised that bit, didn't we, from a
which
walk
I
many
think
years
is
ago.
where you tried to give a little temporary home to a honeybee.
Yeah, so, I said at the time, I've got a bee in my bonnet, didn't I?
Yeah.
So the buzzing just got very, very loud, and I said to you, you said, yes, it's...
It's trying to nest in your hair.
Oh, my word.
And I don't think I hurt it when
No,
I had to flick it away.
Moved it on its way, didn't you?
Because there was no other safe way to do it.
From me or the bee.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So
a friendly flick of the bee out of your hair.
So a couple of deep breaths later, we carried on, and then we started to get a bit bent out of shape, didn't
Absolutely.
we?
And now when I'm looking at an OS, it's clear where we went wrong. Because we then had to walk, is it Tranmere Beck? Which was a nice diversion, but it meant we had to do a bit of elevation that we perhaps could have avoided, because when we were at the highest point, we saw the smartly dressed chap again.
Over against the wall.
Absolutely.
In the distance. So did we get to here? Because
we got to an option, and then we turned back, went a different route, we had to do a descent and an ascent,
and
go through a beck.
When we were walking up, I thought, crikey, and it was windy. It seemed to be getting dark.
I was going to say, it was the first time I would say that we've gone wrong, and it was a case of really don't know where we are.
Yeah, and we were going in the wrong direction. And my inner GPS was telling me that, but I didn't know.
We knew which direction Lastingham was at, and let's be fair, all these paths,
the tracks, didn't we?
But all the tracks on the moor, they go from a place to a place. Yeah. Granted, it may be to a sheepfold or something like that, but you know.
We did keep seeing small tracks off, but they were there, but the heather was so thick either side, and the buzz of the bees was so strong. Yeah. We didn't take those, did we? So we kept following the well-trodden sandy path. But the delight was that we made that descent, and there was a little beck, and as you say, Tranmere Beck, and it had stepping stones, which were very easy to pass. But I could imagine that, especially now as we're talking, I imagine there's a torrent flying down there. I mean, I wouldn't want to be doing that.
Oh no!
So that would have been a turn back situation then. But no, it was just, there was water there, but the stepping stones were perfectly fine for us to get across. And then it was quite an ascent that towards the end of a walk.
No, absolutely.
But I think because I'd started to secretly panic because we were walking so far away from the track that we should have been on, I think the adrenaline was pumping me up that hill. And then did we see the chap again? Just vanishing into the distance round the corner.
He was well ahead then,
wasn't he? We're there, and we just followed our noses. Then we got to that path that he was on.
Yeah, because now and again, looking at the OS, when you get to the entrance to the moor, no, it's not as defined as that.
And obviously,
there's 3 distinct paths there.
I know, but there are these other little subsidiaries that either animals or people have created, and they can turn your head, can't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, we got back on track and ended up at the familiar sort of 5 lanes end at the top of the lane.
Through the gate, off the moor, and I think we had a bit of a chat with a holidaymaker. that was regaling us with how he got lost.
Yeah, we were sharing tales of extended walks.
Absolutely. But as I say, it was an 11-mile walk. You know, it wasn't cool. Was it cool? I can't remember what the weather was doing.
It was.
I think it was a mixed bag.
It did get a bit cloudy and windy at points.
But again, when you look back at any day of the summer, difficult to know.
You had to have your clothes with you.
Absolutely.
You? But the walk didn't end there.
No.
Wasn't.
So back to the car. Did we dump our gear? We didn't. No, we walked straight into the Lastingham Grange Hotel. Now, the best way to describe this, and this is not to be disparaging, is to say that it is an old country house hotel that will have a lot of fixtures and fittings from yesteryear. 70s,
Even,
80s.
Back into the 30s and the 40s as well.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, the sofas could easily be 40, 50,
still be
60 years old.
Yeah.
But we walked in, literally somebody was, in attendance straight away on the reception.
Luckily our boots were
they were
fine,
clean. Yes,
weren't
they were
they?
clean,
Because it was dry and, with dusty was probably the most.
And slightly embarrassed, we said all we're after is literally a pot of tea, if possible.
Yeah, and a biscuit.
But showed us outside to lovely terrace.
That garden, it was a raised garden, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And again, it was reminiscent of the 60s and 70s, the way that the roses and everything had been.
Yeah, but it reminds me, because they came out with a huge pot of tea.
Glorious bone china.
Yeah.
Oh, it gleamed.
The little biscuits that had been made is, again, I just got the impression it was that kind of place where the chef is in the kitchen, has prepared, dinner, making a dessert, and then just makes some lovely little shortbread rounds
for the rooms and
yes, absolutely. That's what they were, wasn't it? Yeah. Biscuits for the room.
Just a little bit of glacé cherry.
Yeah.
On the centre, but they were wafer thin.
Oh, they were.
Not
They're translucent.
But compared with my big
choddy
wedges,
industrial,
that had to be. But that's how they had to be for the show, didn't they?
Of course.
But I kept saying I will make some thin ones.
But we probably, we emptied the pot, and it probably made.
How many did we get?
A dozen.
Yeah, must have.
A dozen
had
cups.
Half a dozen
yeah, easily. And then again, we had a good look around the lounge, but it was glorious that we were leaving. And it was time for people that would probably be coming down for their rooms for pre-dinner drinks. Because, again, it's a place that has a clientele.
Yes.
But
who have clearly been coming for many years. Yes.
But I thought it was glorious how the chap, who I think we later found out was, because it's family run, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
That had changed into a beautiful black suit, tie. It was
yeah, he was ready to be made
absolutely,
to be,
absolutely,
and
absolutely
you didn't
fantastic.
Finish your sentence, but we later found out that he was the son of the owners.
Yes,
didn't we?
Yes.
So
that was it. So Lastingham Grange Hotel.
Try it.
We shall absolutely, but
it's closed at the moment, isn't it?
Of course.
For the winter. So we can't wait for it. I presume it'll open again.
I think probably March.
Yeah.
Oh yes, it is March.
It opens on a notable day, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, absolutely.
Yeah, Lastingham Grange.
Excellent.